As we wait for VP Harris to speak, I want to go to Republican South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. Governor, you've been on the trail with President Trump in states like Wisconsin. What are you seeing? What are you feeling on the ground?
Well, it feels exciting. And I think what most people recognize is that right now, Vice President Harris and her campaign team are panicking. I think when we see Biden say things like he has today, Mark Cuban saying that President Donald Trump doesn't surround himself with smart and intelligent women, and Bill Clinton, how he's talked about the fact that these illegal immigrants are not vetted properly under the Harris administration. They are saying what their thoughts are behind closed doors, and what they're saying it out loud and public, and people are recognizing the truth and the honesty to those words. This is what President Trump has been talking about for years, is that Democrats do not respect the American people. They don't protect their freedoms and their liberties. And it's been really refreshing to see them finally voice what their true thoughts are. You know, and President Trump is out having fun on the campaign trail. Right. I think that's what's been really refreshing the last few days, is to see him relax, enjoy the American people who are the backbone of this country. And the momentum is all going his direction. It's
so interesting because when you use the word refreshing, I think the same light bulb went off in your head as mine. I was going to ask you, and I want to talk a little bit more about this, the McDonald's situation. Main Street media lost their minds over it. It was extraordinarily effective in terms of clicks, social media, young people, all of the things that it generated. And then, of course, the garbage truck, just another stroke of genius. I'm not sure who's coming up with all of these, but someone's getting a bonus, I'm sure. When you see President Trump in this way, he's re-energized, he looks better, he feels better, but he's also calm at the same time. How is that, in your opinion, translating to the general public?
Well, they like the fact that he doesn't think he's better than they are. He truly doesn't believe he's better than the average American. He's out there fighting for them. He's often told the American people that Harris and her machine are coming after them. He's just in the way. And they're really feeling it right now. They recognize that he's been a man that for the last 7-8 years has been constantly attacked. And the fact that he can go out there and still campaign to be president of the United States and be happy, and to relax, and to really talk about the issues that are affecting their pocketbooks and their families. They love that. So most of President Trump's good ideas come from him. He's always got great ideas on how to send a message to the American people. But his campaign team, too, I think, is figuring out who he is and how to let him shine in the best way possible.
You know, I think that's always important. I think these politicians who go all in and consultants always make a huge mistake doing that. You know, you sort of alluded to the elitism that really is coming through on the Democratic side. In fact, I know, Governor, you're taking issue with those remarks from Harris surrogate Mark Cuban on The View today, that President Trump, I'm paraphrasing, he's never seen him around strong, intelligent women. You've got to wonder what his classification is for strong and intelligent, because a lot of women obviously are going to take offense with that.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I rarely get offended because I recognize that politics is a full combat sport at some times. But the fact that I immediately thought of Melania, I immediately thought of Ivanka, and you know, the people that he had in leadership positions in the White House when he served, Sarah Huckabee Sanders as his press secretary. He just elevated women all the time and has always given me the opportunity to pick up the phone, call him, walk into a meeting with him and listen and to hear and to give us the opportunities to do our jobs the best that we possibly can to our ability. So I could tell from that video of Mark Cuban, he was emotional. And I think the reason he's emotional is because he's panicking. He just cannot believe that they are doing so poorly out there campaigning that they can't pull one over the American people's eyes and try to get Harris into the White House. They're just not going to, because we see that everything that she's been campaigning on is fake and a lie, and that's not what the American people want anymore.
You know, to that point, Mark Cuban's really flailing a lot. I hate to say it. I saw him and bumped into him in Nashville a week ago. We were cordial, but I just feel like, golly, blaming Trump for gas prices and inflation, he knows better than that. And as far as strong women, Governor, I think of my mom. I think of my grandmother. They weren't college PhDs, right? But they were strong, intelligent women, and I think that's what the country is, the backbone we're built on. You know, some are saying that the Madison Square Garden thing could have had more women itself, could have had a more female influence. Some are wondering, for instance, where's Nikki Haley and others? Will we see more women on the Republican side campaign for Trump in the final days?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that women have been out there and have been campaigning with him. We'll continue to do that. I leave here tomorrow, go to North Carolina, Georgia, then Michigan and Pennsylvania. And I've been doing that for the last several months. But I know that Elise Stefanik's been out there and Sarah. And we've just got incredible women. You see continuously the president's family and folks that have represented him well over many, many years. I think that that's fantastic. But listen, this country's never been about, you know, really if you're male or female or
Right.
if you're a certain profession or not, or a certain culture or a certain race. We're all Americans. We're all Americans. We all have a perspective, and we all should be out there fighting to give our kids and our grandkids the best future possible. And that's President Trump. He truly loves this country and the gift that our founders gave us in protecting those liberties.
And you talk about the best future. I want to give you some props. Cato Institute out ranking the top governors in this country on fiscal responsibility. I think you ranked number 5. Somewhat ironically, Governor Walz of Minnesota ranked last. He got an F. So at the end of the day, isn't this campaign ultimately what you just touched on, the economy, the ability for our children and our grandchildren to have an opportunity at prosperity? I feel like that message has been fading, and I know that President Trump, that resonates with him for a lot of people, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And people just have to look from state to state to see that leadership has consequences. Our state is thriving, and it's because we embraced conservative principles and economic policies that give people more money in their pockets so they can go out and take care of their families and get higher paying jobs and get the education that they want and to get a career to be successful. We have imported thousands of people from Minnesota because they just couldn't stand to live under Tim Walz's dictatorship and leadership anymore. They have picked up and moved their entire families to South Dakota. And I think that's why you see that reflected in those statistics. We're doing extremely well for a small little state in the middle of the country. Tim Walz has devastated Minnesota, and you can see it right there that everything on his economic policies is wrong, and really what he believes is just more government control.
Today we had inflation data out. The rate of inflation is slowing, but it's still cumulatively pounding on folks. And core inflation actually went up more than economists thought. Is that the number one personal message? I mean, as people sit down at their kitchen tables and try to make ends meet, is that the main thing that somehow we have to close the gap on in this country?
That's the number one thing I'm hearing, no matter where I am. I was just in Wisconsin the day before yesterday, and folks there were devastated by inflation. And they have another governor that needs to be replaced as well. But I would say that for them, they want people in elected office and in leadership positions to listen to them, to hear how hard their lives are, how they have to make choices at the grocery store they never had to make 3-4 years ago. They can no longer be buying steaks and hamburgers. They're buying hot dogs and sandwich meat, and they're going and putting things back, and that filling their gas tank now is using up some of their family budget they maybe would have used to go enjoy a movie during the week. Those are the real conversations I'm having with folks, and they just want to know that they have somebody in leadership that gets it and is going to actually do something about it and give them more opportunity to really do better in the future, to have a better economy that lifts them up.
Governor Noem, it's a pleasure talking with you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Charles.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.